Hi, here I'm going to show you how I use a PowerShell script I've written that harvests process creation and termination events from a security event log to give you a rough idea of what's going on process-wise during logon in terms of when process start, potentially relative to logon, and also their durations, which I've found very useful for a number of customers in terms of troubleshooting slow logons. So if we look at our test user Billy Bob, who logged on at 6:48 and something seconds, which again is a problem with queue user not actually showing us the seconds, we'll see the first feature of the script, which is actually to allow us to see the interactive sessions since boot as returned by LSA, the local security authority. So we can see actually a couple of Billy Bob sessions, the current one at 6:48 and 53 seconds, but then also one at 5:40. So if I want to go and look at the script and run it to look at that Billy Bob logon, we can see I've got a number of different options. The username option actually is used just to show processes from that user, which may be useful for the logon, but don't forget we've got a lot of things running as system and it might be processes running from other users that impact it. And we've got start and end where we can put dates and times. If we're just doing it for today, we don't need to put the date in. So I could say start 0540, end minus 0542, but again I'd need to know when those times were. Say last, I could say minus last 2 hours, but again that's going to produce a lot of events. But what I can actually do is, if you see here, we've got this logon of option, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to say the logon of Billy Bob, but I don't want the current one, which is what we'll get by default, so I'm actually going to skip one logon. I don't want to show file information. This is more of a security feature, so I can show where that executable comes from, who owns it, and so on. And what I also want to do here is to show times relative to logon. If I actually managed to type it correctly. Notice I do have a logon around as well, so if I know roughly what time it is, I could actually put that in as well. So it was about 5:30ish, so I could put logon around 5:30 and it would find the logon closest to that. But we'll actually say logon times, and we'll actually have boot times as well. And that'll do. So it'll go off. It needs to run as admin because it's accessing the security event log. By default, we'll produce a sortable, filterable grid view. Quite wide columns, mainly because I've also got the command line auditing in there. And the script will take minus enable option, which will actually set all the required auditing, including command line auditing, and a minus disable if you wanted to turn it off again. I'm just going to remove the subject logon ID, which is how we can tally up processes to the correct logon session. We're not using that just in this quick demo. I'm also going to get rid of the username now, mainly because it's usually the same as the username, but occasionally processes do actually get changed in terms of who they run as. So let's get rid of that. And logon ID, which will give us slightly more room to play with. So here we can see, again, we're sorting on the start. So the logon, if we look back, the list sessions output was 5:40:08. So if we look at 5:40:08, we can see MP notify, which is for the network bits. You can see some UPM processes, group policy script. We'll see a user init somewhere. We've got a PowerShell there. Notice we show the parent process as well, so we can see PowerShell being called by group policy script. We can see some other executables being called by CMD. Again, we can look for that CMD process. I mean, we can do a quick filter in here if we want. Just type CMD, for instance, and we can see process ID 6628 is a CMD being run from, or rather running the logon script for that particular user. Get rid of that filter. We can get more specific filters if we want by clicking on one of these and then picking those filter values, such as contains, does not contain. Here we can see good old user init, and we can see user init took 30 seconds to run, and all the processes that run as the Billy Bob user, we can see how long after logon they started, and also how long after boot. Obviously this system was booted quite a while ago, but if this is let's say a VDI session, then it can be quite useful to know how long it took if you're logging on immediately after boot. And as long as your event logs are persistent, so even in a Citrix PVS world, if you set your security event log to a decent size, something like 100 meg, and push it onto a persistent drive, then you can look back days, even on XenApp servers, which can give you a lot of interesting information. And we can sort on some of these column sets, look and see what the longest running processes were. Again, I'm not troubleshooting a slow logon here, I'm just showing you how we use a script. And here we can see the longest running script was this, longest running program, sorry, was UPM event.exe. I've got a lot of plans for this script. I'm going to put a better GUI on it, add more security features, do some indentations, but yeah, welcome ideas as well, and feedback on its use. But I'm using it massively out in the field. Hope that's been useful.